You've just opened up DMZ for the very first time and you find yourself super overwhelmed with the number of choices, menus, options and windows to look at. Well, don't worry, I'm Z and I've got your back. Whether it's PvE or PvP, I know a thing or two about DMZ. And in this video, we're going to go over the ultimate beginner's guide to DMZ that will help you get started. First up, what is DMZ? Well, to give a brief overview, DMZ is a round-based extraction looter shooter. And what does that mean? That means you're going to be collecting loot, killing players, and extracting to safety. Well, hopefully anyway. This brings us to the first part of the menu that we're going to take a look at. Active duty operators. What are active duty operators? Well, these are the characters that you're going to be dropping into the DMZ with. Each character or operator can hold its own unique set of gear and items and can use a gun from your inventory, but more on the inventory later. At the beginning of each raid, you'll be asked to select an active duty operator. Each one of these operators can hold 2 weapons, a tactical, a lethal, some equipment, a kill streak, plates, and more importantly, a plate carrier, but more about those later, a gas mask, and a self-revive. You also have a wallet. This is shared across every operator and is where the cash that you extract is stored, ready for you to take in on the next round. These items are all extractable and will be automatically equipped if you safely extract with them, ready for your next raid. As this is your first time, however, you will be going in naked and afraid. But don't worry, I've got you covered. I've got plenty of videos on the channel about how to get you started, geared up and ready to go. So I'll link anything useful in the description below. Okay. Operator selected, it's time to talk about weapons. When you're getting started, you'll only have one insured slot available. This is a slot where you can put any loadout gun, any gun that you've unlocked within Warzone or Modern Warfare 2, configured in the gunsmith exactly like you used to. However, you need to use this slot wisely. If you don't safely extract with this weapon, it will remain on a cooldown timer. This means you won't be able to use this weapon until that time is up. There are various ways to get this timer reduced, but that is one for another video. This brings us on nicely to your contraband stash. This stash will build up over time with weapons that you extract safely from the DMZ. These weapons are enemy weapons, floor loot weapons, or anything that you find while you're out there on the battlefield. If you do find yourself, however, having a bad string of runs in the DMZ and you've run out of contraband weapons and insured slots, don't worry. A button will appear that will let you select from an assortment of basic weapons. You can take those into the DMZ for free. Now you're all geared up and ready for action, it's time to select some missions. This is what DMZ is all about. There are 4 different types of missions for you to choose from. Faction missions, urgent missions, passive missions, and upgrades. You can select them by clicking on this button here. But don't worry, if you forget, you'll be prompted every time you drop into a new raid in DMZ to select your weapons, missions, and equipment. Okay, time for your first raid. But before we go in, I recommend hitting this button here to make sure you enable squad fill. DMZ is challenging at the best of times. Going in solo is not for the faint of heart. Time to choose a location. With DMZ, you can choose one of 5 maps, each of which have their own unique sets of challenges and missions. From left to right, we have Vondel, which is a medium-sized map, Ashika Island, which is a small map, Al Mazrah, which is your main DMZ location. Last up is Building 21. At the time of recording, this is only available to access during weekends. The difficulty is extremely hard and you have to have a key card to enter. It's extremely PvP focused and I wouldn't advise it for your first infills. You may be thinking though, Z, you said 5 maps, that's only 4. Well, the Koshé complex, which is an underground tunnel network, can be accessed via Al Mazrah. This is, however, one for another video. Once you have selected your location and confirmed your missions, it's time to pick from one of your weapons. Pick an insured slot or a contraband weapon that we discussed earlier, confirm you're happy with your equipment, and get going. This will now kick off matchmaking and we'll head into the first raid. Once matchmaking is complete, you'll find yourself spawning into the DMZ. You will spawn at one of a number of random spawn locations. These locations do get changed by the developers and are updated maybe on a season by season basis. Depending on when you're watching this video, the spawns will vary. However, the developers do have a bit of a habit of making these spawns pretty PvP heavy, meaning that they're either in a line of sight or they're pretty close to another player spawn. So you want to have your wits about you and get going, moving on as quickly as possible. And now, I'm not here to tell you how to play the game. That is on you. You want to work out what your playstyle is, what you enjoy doing the most. But what I can advise you to do is to focus on the core gameplay loop. Drop into the DMZ, complete missions, complete contracts, loot for gear, protect yourself against other players, and exfil. If you do that, everything in between will happen by itself. Now let the good times roll. The beginner missions are going to teach you how to use the core mechanics of the game, so make sure you select those before you drop in and get those finished. You can, however, only select 3 missions per raid. So once you've done all your missions, which are pretty easy in the early stages, head to the minimap and select a contract. Familiarize yourself with what these contracts are, how they play out, and what's your favorite to do. This will give you an opportunity to explore each of the maps and find out what the good spots are, what the bad spots are. On this journey, you want to be prioritizing finding 2 main things. You want to find yourself an upgraded backpack and an upgraded plate carrier. Backpacks come in a few different shapes and sizes, but the main 2 are the medium bag and the large bag. Grabbing one of these either from the buy station or from a random loot cache will heavily improve your gameplay experience. This will allow you to hold more in your backpack, and even for a large bag you can hold an additional 3rd weapon. As I say, there are other shapes and sizes that backpacks come in, but these are the 2 you want to prioritize in the early stages of the game. Next up is the plate carrier. You start with a 1 plate carrier. You want to find yourself a 2 plate or a 3 plate as quickly as possible. These are the basic variations of the plate carrier. They do come in other shapes and sizes. We have a comms vest, a stealth vest, a medic vest, and a tempered vest. These special plate carriers do come in 2 plate and 3 plate variants, but I wouldn't worry about them too much at the early stages of the game. If you find one, then great. If not, then I'd just focus on getting familiar with the game. You can do some research on YouTube later on. With all this said and done, you're geared up, you've got some cash, you've completed some contracts and some missions. Now you got to get out safely. If you want all your hard work to carry over to the next raid, then you have to exfil. Luckily, there are a few ways to do this. First up is the standard exfil. If you open up the minimap and look for the little sign that looks like a man with an exit sign next to him, this is the standard exfil. If you head to this location on the minimap, call in the chopper, wait for it to arrive, board the chopper, a 30-second countdown will commence. Once that's up, the chopper will depart. As long as you don't get killed and fully finished during the countdown and you're on this bird successfully, you will extract to safety. This can be harder than it sounds, however. People do sometimes like to camp these locations and kill you to steal all your loot. This does take us on nicely to the 2 alternative ways to exfil. First up is the hostage rescue contract. If you head to the minimap, look for a contract that has a pair of handcuffs. This will lead you to a location where you need to rescue a hostage. This will bring down your own personal exfil chopper where you have to carry the hostage. Once you lay him down in the back of the chopper, it will take off. Again, these choppers are visible on the map to other players, so you want to have your wits about you and look out for bots trying to kill your hostage. Last up is the personal exfil. Once you've unlocked this, if you have $50,000, you can buy at the buy station a personal exfil. This exfil will come in at a random location and it'll be shown on the minimap in yellow. Once you've done that, you can head off there without any worry for any additional teams coming to try and ruin your day. And really, that's about it for this basic beginner's guide to DMZ. Ultimately, how you play this game is up to you, but hopefully you found this video helpful and it helps you get started. Whatever you end up doing in the DMZ, make sure you have fun doing it. Subscribe for more videos like this, tips, guides, and live streams, and I'll hopefully see you guys in the next one. Peace out.